Andrew Vander Yacht is with us now. He's an assistant professor at SUNY Environmental Science and Forestry. So appreciate your time this morning. Having lived in the Pacific Northwest for almost a decade, folks out there are used to it. I certainly was used to smoke-filled air in the summers when fires would burn in Canada and in eastern Washington. But to have it so highly concentrated in the Midwest and the East Coast and some of these really big cities, it feels unprecedented. Have we seen anything like this before?
Yeah, absolutely. Good to be with you today. Absolutely, I think an unprecedented thing for us in the eastern United States to be experiencing and to be smelling the smoke like a lot of people kind of live with in their daily lives in the western United States. It seems like more and more these days. Not to maybe challenge some of the earlier reporting, but I would say right now the epicenter of that smoke plume is kind of over Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. That is where we're seeing the most hazardous air conditions currently, as I've got the readings pulled up on my screen here.
And how bad is it as you look at that, Professor?
Yeah, so it's at the highest levels. So 448 in Ronks, Pennsylvania. I'm trying to get like close to Philly, but yeah, we're seeing readings well in the hazardous regions of that scale. Well over 300
wow.
And over 400 in a lot of these areas.
Wow, that's scary stuff, considering the equivalent of how many cigarettes that equates to being smoked. Wildfires, big impact on weather patterns. They have been for years. Are these fires big enough to do that? What are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, a fire creates its own weather. It modifies the environment through the amount of smoke that it's producing, the amount of heat. And so that certainly is a factor here in determining how long this is going to continue. Putting all our best experts at work is still largely guesswork as to how often this is going to occur. But I guess I would venture to say that this absolutely is unprecedented, what we're seeing. An area larger than the state of Maryland has currently burned in the first over the past 6 weeks in Canada. That at this point in the fire season for Canada, that is a 13-fold greater amount of land than the 10-year average for this point in the season. And I'd also point out that, over the history of this region in Canada, there's really no trend when we look at from 1985 to 2015 in the amount of fire that we're seeing. But over the past 10 years, what we have seen, if we isolate the window of inference to that point, we are seeing an 11% increase in the amount of acres burned per year every year. So, definitely, some links to climate change, some things that are happening as we increase our temperatures, the frequency and duration of droughts and that kind of thing. We're just seeing more fire activity.
Just a couple seconds left. Talk about the particulates in the air specific to some of these cities like Washington and Philly that are seeing the worst air quality at this hour.
For sure. So smoke is an agglomeration of a lot of different incomplete combustion products that are being pumped into the air. But the most important, that right there is the air now data on the screen there. They can see that concentration right over Philly and Washington, D.C. And the biggest thing to be concerned about is what we call PM 2.5, which are particulate matter that are less than 2.5 microns in width. There are 25,000 microns in an inch. So these are the particles that we can breathe, enter our lungs, and really cause adverse health effects.
All right, that's why you need those good N95 masks. Hopefully people still have those on hand. Professor Andrew Vander Yacht, thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.